Hello and welcome to Behind the Locked Doors, which is basically an excuse for some cool lads to get together and talk about writing and creating, and it's all wrapped up in a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if there will be intro music today, but whatever. That's mostly because it's just me, Sam Stark.
And Jack is here also. Jack Sparrow. Or whatever.
You should just start calling yourself that. That'd be awesome.
I'm not gonna do that, but
So do you want to start with an update? Because let's be real, I think everybody knows that you and I do not have anything
we have no
to
updates.
update.
Not on Ast and Wez anyway.
Yeah, let's skip that segment. Let's move on to let's just talk about Ast and Wez.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Like I said before, I have not worked on this in a while, and I have actually not even thought about it because my brain has been so full of other frustrating isn't even the right word. Just horrendously written, just absolutely the worst written BS I have ever had to read into a microphone in my life.
I'm so
And
sorry.
It's kind of a fun experience because I don't care. I'm getting paid to say this nonsense into the microphone, and I get paid fairly well. And
That's good.
yeah, but I went on to the app yesterday and I looked at the reviews, and the performance is 5 stars across the board. I mean, of course it is. There's like 3 people. 3 people have said that it's a 5 stars.
That's awesome.
But yeah, thank you. The reviews are all like, I hate this MC. I hate this protagonist. I hate this main character so much. I can't listen to this anymore. The main character is so stupid. And that's what I've been saying for months recording this fucking show. I can't stand this kid, and it's so I'm in the last 10 episodes.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and it's really exciting because I'm almost done. And this should be like where the climax of everything is happening, but we're bringing in so many new storylines and like new characters, and we have 10 episodes left. So I'm just, it's so hard. It's like painful to record. And I know that if there is actually anybody that gets this far into the show, they're just going to be like, what the fuck am I listening to? And why did I just waste like hours of my life listening to this crap? And I'm very sad about it. But I actually enjoy reading the I enjoy reading the reviews because it's kind of like validating all my feelings.
Right.
So.
Yeah, totally. I'm sorry that's been your whole your whole job.
Like the last 4 months. It's the last 4 months has been doing that. And again, they pay really well, so it's okay. It's not like destroying my brain and my consciousness and my soul.
Yeah.
But it is getting tiring. I am tired of reading really, really bad
I'm
shit
sorry.
all the time.
Fuck. Free him.
Anyway, okay, enough about me. So now let's talk about Ast and Wez.
Okay, let's.
I wanted to ask you. I've actually been curious about this. When I sort of pitched the idea to you, like it was basically I hopped into your Discord DM and was like, yo, what if we like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
What was your first kind of feelings about it besides the obvious like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. What was your did you have a long-term like this is what I want to accomplish with this story, or was it just this sounds really fun and I want to like what were your thoughts when it was first percolating in your head?
I was like really hype about the idea of getting to expand Ast and Wez's story more because even though like in Unspeakable Distance we do get like some insights into both of their backstories and like what was going on for them before they ended up where they ended up in that show. I was also really interested in like seeing them together because they're such like a funny pair of people to like have in a room together. And I also think that because there are like overlapping elements in their backstories, there was the potential for like a lot of like silly, goofy hijinks, and then also some really serious drama later on. And that was an exciting prospect. But yeah, my first thought was like, oh my god, fucking sick, like bros road trip spin-off.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think I
still
said I
feel that
think
way
I
about it.
said like trans buddy cop comedy like
Yes,
five
yes.
times.
Except
Yeah.
we're running from the cops instead.
Yes, definitely. Um, I remember very clearly my thoughts when I was sort of letting this idea manifest.
Hmm.
Um, I liked the character of Simmons so much,
Oh my god,
and I
yes.
liked I liked the world that had been created so much that I respected what Unspeakable Distance was doing. I really love the breakdown of the relationship and the getting
Yeah.
farther and farther away and not being able to fix that and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That whole concept was just really cool. But I was thinking about how great these characters were fleshed out and how well we had like made the world, and I
Hmm.
felt like we were wasting it. And I totally get that that's what Unspeakable Distance is about.
Yeah.
But I figured, hey, this is a great concept, but it's also a fake thing that we could just turn around.
Well, and we got a lot of juice out of Unspeakable Distance,
Yes, we
played as
really
written,
did. We really did. Yeah. But I wanted to do like the inverse. I wanted to, instead of a breakdown or a falling out in a relationship, I wanted to do the inverse of that, which was like, yeah, they may be really, really far apart, but I want to see a story of somebody fighting really, really hard to come back together. And
Yeah.
because I
Oh,
I
yeah.
am hopelessly forever and ever and ever a absolute sucker for the happy ending, or at least the satisfying ending.
Yeah.
And I love a good horror story. I love a good dystopian whatever. I love
Sure.
grimdark. Grimdark is like my favorite, but I get kind of sad when like the ending is not sad. I don't mind if an ending is sad. I don't like it when an ending is just unfulfilling or like not
Hmm.
obligatory. What's the word? It's like when it's not, you're not sure, they just leave it out there for
Sure. Like an
maybe this happened.
uncertain ending.
Yeah, I don't really like uncertain endings, and I know that there are great uncertain endings out there, but me personally, if I'm making a
Just not your
thing,
flavor.
I want it to have a good ending.
Uh-huh.
And that's basically my drive for doing this story, is that these characters are great and they're interesting, and I don't want them to be wasted, and I want to tell the opposite story,
Or the other,
but
maybe the other half of this story.
the other half, yeah, but not in a way where I was unsatisfied with Unspeakable Distance. It's
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
like
totally.
I'm complementing it by
Yes.
doing the yin to the yang.
Yes. Well, and I would say like also there were characters in Unspeakable Distance whose stories ended in a place that felt like kind of correct and satisfying, even though it was like
Mm-hmm.
a ooh wow that's so wild and spooky. Like I wonder what's gonna happen to them. But that was like the right way
Yeah.
for their story to end.
Mm-hmm.
But with As and West, it felt like there was more juice to be juiced.
Yes.
So
I want
here
all
we
the
are.
juice. I'm thirsty. I want all the juice.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So that was one of my big questions. Another sort of thought that I had was
Hmm.
because uh, because I have, unfortunately, this is what I do, and I um, what is it? I pants everything. Um,
Hmm.
I usually end up making things more than I originally planned to. My writers group,
Hmm.
I think I've talked about this before. My writers group likes to tease me because they'll do a prompt and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna write a short story," and then they'll be like, "Sam, a short story is less than
Sam
this
Short.
many words," and I'm like, "Cool, all right," and I'll come back with a 25,000 word like
Hmm.
novella
Hmm.
every time.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, so that's not a short story. Nice try.
Yes, every time. Um, And so I've sort of, I feel like I might have done that with As and West, and I have built up the world and I have all these ideas. Fortunately, I haven't actually written any of it yet, so you could be like, no, Sam, we're not doing this, and keep it short. but I have, at least in my head and in my notes, I have enough material to not do more than just our original 8 episode plan. And I mean, that's
Yeah,
cool.
like 8 to 10 was where we were originally thinking
Yeah,
it was
8
gonna
to 10.
hit, right?
I just wanted like one podcast season. I just wanted to finish telling
Uh-huh.
the story. And now I think I have enough for two. I think I have enough for two seasons. And
2 seasons,
and
okay.
I wanted to maybe get your input on that. Like, is this a project that you wouldn't mind continuing doing, or do we want to keep it in at like this one season kind of one off thing? Because I'm really, really leaning more to keeping it short, but I guess I would have to like show you the stuff that I had in
Yeah,
mind
you'd have to show me
anyway.
this stuff because I think that as much as I am happy to just play as however long, like because he's a character I enjoy performing, if it turns out that it would serve that like uh giving the closure to those characters more to
Hmm.
keep the arc of this story shorter, then I think we have to bow to that. But if it turns out that you have like rad shit in your brain that we really want to see them do, more than will fit in 10 episodes or 8 episodes, then I think that's worth exploring also. But I don't know what those things are because they're inside of your
They're
brain.
inside my brain, yeah. There is
Hmm.
also the option. There's no rule for how long a season of a show needs to be. So if it
Yeah,
ends up being 15 episodes of one season, like I feel like that would be fine
yeah,
too. And
yeah, that's totally also fine.
cool. And I'm glad that you are flexible also because
No, totally.
I can like put myself in a stringent like this is what we're doing and this is how many episodes we're doing. You cannot do
Yeah, you
I
can
can do
cut
that.
like
I don't really like to do that though cuz then that sort
yeah.
of my creativity sort of goes and
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
totally.
want to do that. So at least I know that I have your blessing to at
Yes.
least try stuff, and if it doesn't work, we can be like, nah, let's not do that.
Right, totally. Yeah, if you're sitting there like I have easily enough shit for uh about half again as much podcast as we thought we were gonna make, then I'm like, well, sick. I like these characters and I like seeing them, flop around together. So
Yeah,
that's not gonna upset me at all.
and so many opportunities to bring in uh, voice acting friends
Yeah,
that
our
we know and
friends,
love.
more
Yeah,
folks.
to just play just one off little dumb. It's very it's turning into the Mandalorian. Like every
Oh
episode
my
is just
god.
this fun little like there's there's a heist one and then there's like a save this person one and then there's a oh no there's a
Uh-huh.
child one, and
Yeah.
you just get a cool little guest star in every
Well,
single episode.
what was good was the first season of The Mandalorian, when that's really what the show
Yeah.
was like a different little adventure every episode, and also
Yep.
there's a cute baby there.
Yep. I mean, I think that's where a lot of my I don't know why because I haven't watched The Mandalorian the first season and since it came out basically,
Yeah, me
um,
neither.
but I
But I
guess it
enjoyed it.
really I really enjoyed it and it really sort of impacted me. To be honest, I think I've watched it like two or three times, because I have children
Hmm.
and those
Yeah,
children
right.
like it too. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I don't think anybody will be mad though if it's Mandalorian esque trans Betty
No,
Cop
because
Mandalorian.
right, exactly. A trans fugitive from the law, Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like that structure from the first Mandalorian season did really work for me. Of like taking a pair of characters that were interesting and complex in their own right, and then just putting them in all these situations one after
Mm-hmm.
another.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a really fun way to explore characters.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the episodes were technically kind of standalone-ish, but there
Right.
was a through thread that was very very clear. And so I think that we also will be able to do that. We have a
Yes.
through thread that is very very clear. We have a very very defined goal and everything that these characters are going to be doing, no matter how crazy or just outrageous the shit is,
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
ultimately get them closer to that goal.
Yes.
So I feel like that will work,
Yeah, me too.
especially the
Like if
heists.
we
Everybody loves a good heist.
who doesn't like a heist? Yeah, but if we're like looking over the top of every episode, like, okay, see that little dot in the distance? That's Simmons, and we're
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
there. Like, we have
Hmm.
to be
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
there. Everything we do is to get us closer to there. I think that'll still feel like interconnected in the overarching sense, even
Yes.
if the day-to-day little adventures and mishaps and hijinks are not necessarily like Simmons fronted. That impetus will still be there throughout.
Mm-hmm. The other really important thing that I cannot believe that I haven't talked to you about yet, but you know, my brain, sorry.
Well, and you've been busy, to be fair.
Yeah, just so many things.
Right.
The ending of the show, or at least the ending of this season, I always kind of envisioned that it would be them basically rescuing Simmons and getting Simmons on their ship and off the mushroom, the dead mushroom thing.
Yeah.
And I guess we never really talked about where this was going to officially end. Is it going to be when we pick up Simmons and save him? Or do we need to have a little bit more, like maybe this is completely just as an example. Like if let's say there's somebody chasing us, like actively chasing us, and we have to go in and we have to grab Simmons and we have to get him off the ship, and then we have a space chase or something. Do we need something on the tail end, like one last fun adventure episode with Simmons? Or is the ultimate pinnacle ending of the show literally just saving Simmons?
Yeah, like door opens and you hear Simmons' voice on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good question, because I feel like, depending on, you know, how it's executed, either one of those could be a very satisfying ending. Like, you know the ending of Monsters, Inc., the movie?
Yes.
That's the first one to me. That's the first option.
Yeah,
And
actually.
then, you know, and then the option where there's a little sort of tail right at the end where Simmons is part of the crew, so to speak, is also appealing to me because I really like Simmons and I like working with Mike. But yeah, we'd have to think about whether it was in service of the like greater narrative to put that fun little tail right at the end. Because I think, again, depending on how it's executed, I think it could be really satisfying. But if it just feels like, oh, why are they still like, you know, flopping around when basically the story is over, that's not how we want to like leave the listener or us.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'll kind of depend, but I'm open to that possibility.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest I don't know, question in my brain on whether or not we do that is I know personally from people that I've talked to and, you know, looked at reviews and blah blah blah, is that Simmons is a favorite of basically anybody who listened to the show.
Literally anyone.
Yeah, and so including the people that were in the show.
Yes.
And it's like, are we going to, if we do the Monsters Inc. ending, I'm just gonna call it that from now on. If we do it, if we do the Monsters Inc. ending, are we going to like take that away from listeners? Like they're waiting to hear from Simmons. They're waiting to like have a Simmons episode, or they're waiting to like have the banter between. Because like one thing that I personally, as a human being, would really like to see, write, act, whatever, is some really great banter back and forth between Simmons and Az, because that's something we haven't gotten yet. So if
they just haven't hung out like at all.
Exactly, yeah, and if we're going the way that we originally were thinking of going, Az is going to become not obsessed, but like, we need to get you back to your boyfriend, because he listens to the broadcast.
He hears the messages.
Yeah, and he falls in love with at least the idea of Simmons, just like everybody else does. So it's like, if we don't have at least a little bit of Az and Simmons talking, is that like, you know, is that not cool? Would that be like, people would be mad that we don't do that? Because I feel like I would be kind of sad if there wasn't that.
If I were a listener, I'd be like, what the fuck? Why don't they
exactly.
Well, yeah, so I think the trick will be to come up with a really compelling reason for there to be basically whatever's the last episode to be still sort of a like there's still some like pressing thing that needs solving that now Simmons is along for the ride on,
or they need
which
Simmons
I think,
for like it's
exactly.
imperative that Simmons is there to do it or something.
Right, we can't solve whatever's this pressing issue until we have Simmons' expertise on the matter or whatever.
I have an image in my head of them getting on the ship in like dead mushrooms everywhere and spores, and it's
Oh,
just
God.
terrible and gross, and they have to be in their suits, and they
Yeah.
have the not the Paragnation, the preservation soldier with them
Yes.
that Mike is gonna
Right,
play,
right.
other Mike.
Other Mike. Oh, that'll get confusing.
Yeah, that will. But I think he's Michael. So,
Michael. Okay.
yeah, Michael will play him, and I have this vision of them like cracking open his pod, and him and like Simmons being like, he's got cryo sleep, whatever, and he's like blah, 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 and they gotta like put him in a suit, and he's like a baby. They have to like dress him, and then poor soldier guy has to like carry Simmons as they're like trying to get. There could be like some pretty good, very ridiculous hijinks, but also intense getting him out of where they
Yeah.
are, because I feel like most of the stuff that we've written is, they escape by the skin of their teeth, and we might want to continue that through the Simmons rescue.
Sure. Well, and it could be, yeah, like because As and West themselves have been wriggling out of every like trap that's been laid for them, or every like pursuer that has been trying to chase them down. Like having this moment where it's looking like, ooh, shit, we may not get out of it this time because there's nowhere out left for us to run. Like we are at the end of this like trail.
Yes.
I think that could be fun.
Well, I'm glad that we have an overabundance of ideas is actually good and the problem at the same time. But
as usual.
Yeah, so this has been idea brainstorming with Jack and Sam.
Yeah, like listen, sometimes you have to think about the end of a thing before the thing exists, so you know where you're aiming.
That's actually a really good way for me to not completely go off the rails when I'm writing a book. If I have an actual end goal, I can at least not write a 7-book series and just keep going and going and going and going if I have an end in sight.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, is there anything else that you would like to talk about before I edit all of this together and give it to Scott?
I guess just, do we want to set any sort of concrete goal for ourselves for like the remainder of this month? Because I know like Scott's on hiatus now. Good for him. He richly deserves it.
Good job, Scott.
Take a break, Scott. Good for you. Yeah. Do you and I want to be like, hey, let's have something for Scott to look at when he comes like back in November?
I actually had an idea.
Okay, hit me.
I still have to finish this book that I'm narrating. It is a 200,000 word book.
That's so much of a bad book.
Yeah. Well, no. This is actually a good book. This is a book, not the show I was doing.
Not the
problem,
bad show. Okay.
No, the problem with this book is that it's extremely dense and it is literary, and there are a whole bunch of science terms, and on top of the science terms, there's Hawaiian language, which is very hard.
Wow.
So it's been
cool,
very, very it's very cool. It's been a very, very long and very difficult but very rewarding process. The deadline for this book is actually the beginning of November, and I'm going to have to use up until the beginning of November. But what if next week we did like another Behind the Locked Doors episode, and we brought in Mike if Mike was available, and
I would love that.
we could talk more about As and West and get some more concrete ideas, and then having more like concrete, like I will write shit down. I will like take notes, and then once we have that, because I know we need to sit down with Mike anyway, might as well do it and record it.
Yeah, I would like to get both like Mike on this show more because it's just fun to have him, and also he does have a huge brain full of smart ideas, and I want to know like where he wants to see the story going too, because Simmons is like a large part of it, and I think that it would be totally reasonable to take his like artistic tendencies and visions into account as well.
Yeah, exactly. So if we did that next week, and it doesn't have to be at our regular time, we can try and make it doable for Mike. And we could do that, and then our goal would be after we have that kind of brainstorming session with Mike, we will have like more stuff to compile and put together and I guess present when we're back to normal with Scott in November.
Okay, I'm cool with that if you are.
Yay! There's also Halloween, and
Yeah.
Halloween is like Christmas at my house, so there's
It's
a
a lot going
going
on.
Yeah. Ow, that hurt.
Okay. Are you okay?
But yeah, I'm good. It's not very much space in this recording booth.
Oh yeah, mood.
Okay, so we have goals. We have talked about things, and I think, unless there's anything else, that is all for today.
No, I think that's it.
Yes. All right. Well, have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, listeners.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Behind the Locked Doors, a library of cursed knowledge, production, podcast thing. I don't know. If you are interested in any of these projects, you can head over to library.horse, which will eventually redirect to a webpage once I make it, If you want to support the podcast, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/cursedknowledge. See y'all next week. No, wait. See y'all in 2 weeks.